Corpus Christi could activate its water curtailment as early as May. City officials are voting to move forward with the Evangeline groundwater project, and Cesar Chavez marches have been canceled amid sex abuse allegations. This is South Texas Midday. I'm Rob Boskamp. Thank you for joining me on this Wednesday, March 18th. Corpus Christi City Council's latest meeting stretched across 10 hours on Tuesday. Council members learned that two models projecting when a water emergency could be declared show May to be the earliest possible date. Members also listened to public comment and updates on the heavily discussed topic.
We've got each of the scenarios listed there. Notice E, which is the blue on the right. We stay away from the level 1 water emergency. Scenario D is October, C is October, and A and B are in May. These are the scenarios that we decided working with our consultants to show you. There's countless more that could be developed in many iterations along the way to come up with different dates. And like I said, conditions change every single day.
That was Corpus Christi Water Chief Operating Officer Nick Winkleman speaking at Tuesday's meeting. All of the timelines did not include the announcement that the city is expected to be able to draw water from Lake Texana about 8 miles east of Edna at full capacity for slightly longer. The Lavaca Navidad River Authority were set to vote on this today as requested by Governor Greg Abbott. The difference between a May and a fall start date is the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality, or TCEQ's, approval of the Nueces River Authority Western well fields. And a memo from City Manager Peter Zanoni last week, he stated the TCEQ had to draft a permit for review and that the administrative element was complete. 4 wells are operational once the permit has been approved. Continuing on with Tuesday's meeting, Corpus Christi will continue with the Evangeline groundwater project in San Patricio County, despite questions remaining about how much water will be allowed to be pumped. During Tuesday's meeting, the City Council approved a new contract for the groundwater rights and selected a contract company. Total cost of the project is now about $500 million. Should all of the City of Sinton's protests to the San Patricio Groundwater Conservation District be dismissed, Corpus Christi Water eventually will be able to pump around 24 million gallons per day. According to the models shown at Tuesday's meeting, the Evangeline project success was the difference between a water emergency being declared. The changes and plan come as questions remain about how much water CCW will be allowed to pump as Sinton continues to protest the project, citing transparency concerns about what it'll mean for the region. In a statement to 3 News last week, Zanoni said the city has made every effort to discuss the project directly and that Sinton had chosen not to. A decision is expected in about a month. The council also approved a professional services contract with Spheros Environmental Group of Round Rock for far-field modeling throughout the Corpus Christi Bay system. This contract adds to efforts in far-field modeling, building on earlier studies. The project will provide updated data for the Bay system model, helping the city better understand water quality, salinity levels, and environmental effects of large ship traffic in the inner harbor. Modeling work will begin immediately. Updated model results are expected by April 28th. The full project, including dry year modeling from 2012 to 2014, is planned for completion by June 30th. City Council also considered reducing regular meetings to 2 per month to focus on water emergency planning, with workshops dedicated to addressing potential level 1 water emergencies. The city also announced that the city manager will begin hosting weekly media briefings beginning this Friday.
We are communicating with the council continuously here on this, and because things are changing rapidly, sometimes the media is reporting things ahead of us, and so that you can trust that source if you'd like. But if there's something to tell you, we're going to tell you. Okay, and when sometimes we're purposely waiting, we may have information, but it may not be enough to tell you a good report that's fact-based or complete. So we may not tell you, so we're not wasting your time to say, oops, that changed, or now this is the final in conclusion.
That was City Manager Peter Zanoni speaking at Tuesday's meeting. The briefings are expected to provide updates on measures being taken to safeguard the region's water supply. On a related note, Governor Abbott has directed state agencies to expedite temporary water permits and to step in to protect residents during short-term shortages. Last week, he instructed TCEQ to issue temporary emergency bed and bank permits for western groundwater wells along the Nueces River, increasing short-term access to water. Earlier this week, state officials directed the LNRA to modify its drought plan, moving the threshold for water reductions from 50% to 40% lake capacity. Water was not the only topic in Tuesday's meeting. Other key items discussed include a change order passed for the People's Boardwalk project, which will increase project costs by 13%, but is still $1.2 million below the capital improvement project budget. The meeting also resulted in the extension of a lease agreement with Foresight Corpus Christi Golf LLC for the Oso Beach Golf Course and Gabe Lozano Senior Golf Center. The lease, initially for 10 years, will be extended by another 10 years to end in 2041 with 2 5-year renewal options. The legacy of labor icon and civil rights activist Cesar Chavez is being clouded with newly revealed sex abuse allegations. Texas Public Radio's Corey Cook reports.
On Tuesday, the National Cesar Chavez Foundation and the United Farm Workers released statements acknowledging allegations involving women and minors. The foundation's statement claims Chavez engaged in inappropriate sexual behavior during his time as president of the UFW. The UFW's announcement states that allegations against Chavez involve abuse of young women or minors, but they, quote, have not received any direct reports. Annual marches for Chavez in San Antonio, Corpus Christi, Laredo, Tucson, Arizona, and San Francisco, California are all canceled this year due to the claims. Chavez died in 1993 at the age of 66 and would have turned 100 next year. I'm Corey Cook in San Antonio.
The U.S. Food and Drug Administration has issued an emergency use authorization for a new topical treatment to combat the spread of New World Screwworm. Texas Public Radio's Marian Navarro explains.
The screwworm is a harmful flesh-eating larvae detrimental to the livestock industry. The authorization allows for the use of an antiseptic wound spray with insecticide on cattle, horses, sheep, and other mammals to prevent and treat infestations. It's one of many drug and treatments the FDA has recently approved to address the spread of the parasite. New World Screwworm is not yet present in the U.S., but cases in Mexico have inched closer to the border. The Texas Department of Agriculture encourages livestock owners and vets to remain alert of any unusual wound infestations in animals. I'm Marian Navarro in San Antonio.
Perhaps the biggest challenge for a stroke victim is getting back to normal daily routines. That includes driving. Texas Health Plano has added driver rehabilitation technology to help patients restore their confidence behind the wheel. In this installment of KERA's Vital Signs series, the hospital's stroke program director, Dr. Ryan Chun, talks with KERA's Sam Baker about some of the challenges of getting, even virtually, back on the road.
Some patients, depending on the location of their stroke, they can have their vision be obstructed or vision loss. Double vision, which we call diplopia, can make driving a challenge when you're not seeing a true image. Or you could lose half your vision, in which case you might not be able to see your mirrors, and blind spots become even more of a challenge. Cognitive impairments is very common after stroke, and it can impair things like judgment, language. So being able to interpret signs and directions can be a factor. Reaction time, decision-making, judgment all plays a part into driving. And when those are affected, patients can obviously get into dangerous circumstances, but also it can affect their confidence, and they don't feel comfortable getting out on the road safely.
Tell me about the driving rehab technology. How does this work?
So we have a driving simulator complete with a steering wheel and pedals, as well as several monitors and screens to simulate the driving experience. There's 3 screens that they can use to simulate more peripheral vision that they have to use to scan the road, to see oncoming cars, traffic lights, and signs. While the patients are in the driving simulator, there's an occupational therapist who's trained to help these patients. This is what can give them the feel and experience of being in a car without being on the road. And it allows the body to retrain itself. So with any sort of recovery after stroke, we call that neuroplasticity. And it's about retraining the brain to form these new pathways. And so driving is a very complex activity that we do. And it includes things like vision and attention, judgment, reaction time, all of these skills that we need to rebuild and retrain, and also continuously assess. So the driving simulator does give that feedback and can measure those things to help patients get ready for being back on the road and in the community.
Does the technology put you on the path to getting to drive, or does it make you ready and able to get on the road?
So it's a first step, kind of bridging between the bedside and getting to a car physically, because it's just a virtual kind of structured environment. And after a virtual simulator, there are programs, and I think Texas Health does have a program with trained occupational therapists in a special driving car, usually with adaptations that can be made, and also The passenger side has like a brake that they can use to stop the car just in case anything were to happen.
Who is or isn't suitable for this program?
So this is suitable for patients who have the physical ability to use a steering wheel and to use foot controls with the pedals. And these are patients who obviously were driving beforehand, they were independent, and we want to get them back to that. And it can be used to measure, who is ready to get on the road. And if they're not ready, to be able to train them on the driving simulator as part of their recovery.
I imagine one of the things that can come out of this is that they either get fully or get on the way to gaining their confidence back, maybe?
It doesn't replace real world driving, but it can help identify things that they need to work on so they can build safer skills to getting on the road. And it can be a pathway to getting them to the next step. Or perhaps we find that patients maybe just aren't ready and we might need to find another safer way for them to get to different places because safety is the #1 goal.
Dr. Ryan Chung is a neurohospitalist and stroke program director at Texas Health, Plano. And that is the latest news and information on South Texas Midday. I'm Rob Boskamp. Your community arts calendar and more is on the way.